Enjoy your meeting.
Come on, little man. Turn on the recorder in there. The Flintstone box.
Just a reminder, today's meeting is being recorded.
Okay, good morning, top speeders. We've got Kristi on the line with us from MItel, National Channel Manager. She's going to give us a MItel update, and we're excited to have Kristi on. She hasn't been on one of our sales meetings in a while, so it's time for a refresher. And MItel is certainly one of our favorite hosted providers, if not the favorite. So Kristi, take it away.
Thank you, Steve, for that nice, warm introduction. Most of you know me, but for those of you that don't, I've been with MItel for 3.5 years, and I recently moved to a national channel manager position from a sales manager position. So I'm really excited to support you directly. And so I wanted to just thank you. It's a fun move for me, and I don't have to support salespeople anymore. Yay! So anyways, I wanted to take you through some updates today on MItel. So this is our agenda. Just to talk to you about MItel today, some differentiators, our 3 different cloud offerings, our SD-WAN device, and if we have time to do a quick demo. So we will get started. So most of you know MItel is a global leader in the cloud, and we operate in over 100 countries. And we have more than 2 million cloud seats, and we're #1 market share in Europe. And we're in an acquisition mode, which is nice to be on this end of it. We're a recognized leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant twice already, and that's for the SMB cloud as well as the enterprise. And as you can see, our 2 million cloud users compared to our competition, basically adding all of them up doesn't even equal our 2 million clouds. So what that says is more and more companies are trusting MItel with their hosted cloud solutions. So our portfolio, most of you are familiar with MyCloud Business, and some of you with Enterprise. MyCloud Office is an offering that we started deploying in January of this year, and it is for the SMB market, which is a mobile-first solution, and it's targeting the millennial generation. Business is more for your everyday traditional PBX users that have some simple integration needs and want more physical phones than mobile, even though we have mobile soft phones and PC soft phones that has a combination of all of those. And then we look at MyCloud Enterprise for really those enterprise opportunities, the larger opportunities that need some specific custom integrations and just have the volume of employees that pushes them to the enterprise solution. So some differentiators. I'm sure you know that MItel is a manufacturer, which is very unique in this space. And we've been in business for over 43 years, so we've taken what we've deployed on-premise and put it in the cloud about 7 years ago, and we've just expanded on that solution. So it is end-to-end MItel. The phones are MItel, the software is MItel, and it is supported directly by MItel. So there's no third parties in there and no worry about integration today and in the future. We're going to support our solution end-to-end. Another differentiator is on-site installation and training for all locations with 10 or more phones, which is very nice. It's for business and enterprise. Office is more of a self-service model, where we ship the phones and do the design and everything is done remotely. We do offer on-site installation and training for Office, but we charge extra for it. So I just wanted to make that differentiator as well as far as the product set. MItel Border Gateway and security are also unique to our product and unique in our space. So the phones authenticate securely onto the MItel Border Gateway, and the calls are encrypted. So I have more documentation on that I've shared with some of you, but if you're interested, I'm more than happy to send that to you. I mean, when people look to go to the cloud, there are, security questions out there, and, can my calls be hacked? And why do I want to put that in the cloud? So I feel like we do a really good job of explaining that, and we have a lot of federal customers and financial customers that have, driven us to keep that, high level of security. MyCloud Edge is our software-defined WAN, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. You guys are probably somewhat familiar with that, but it's a nice solution for companies who want an enterprise type of solution but want to use it over coax and DSL. Implementation and project management. So we design a phone system specifically to work for that business. So the call groups, what happens during the day, at night, all of that stuff is programmed in-house. We don't just say, here's some phones, here's a portal, and good luck. For those customers who have no IT support, we can add on project management, and it really walks them through the process and holds their hand from everything from helping them set up a network that's VoIP ready to recommending routers and switches and all of that good stuff. And the last one is, we have solutions for SMB all the way to enterprise. So Office is the newer offering that we talked about that's really a mobile first, millennial generation. So being that, a lot of you are in the Bay Area, I'm sure you see a lot of these companies you walk into and you won't even see a phone anywhere on a desk. So this is really what it's targeted for. We do have physical phones, obviously, but most of these users want to manage their calls with a smartphone, with a tablet, and have less and less of the physical desk phones. Business is, I would say, probably our core product. So it has all the full-featured PBX functionality, and we can add on contact center, multiple auto attendants. We have presence and collaboration, physical phones. We have mobile phones, PC soft phones, conference calling, that whole 9 yards. So business, this is kind of what the UC looks like. This is the web client. We also have a PC client and a mobile client. But as you can see when people are on and off the phone. You can connect to other Outlook and Exchange to integrate with those and import your contacts and click to dial not only from your corporate directory, but also from outside. And I can change my status. When I'm in the office, how calls are routed to me. When I'm mobile, how calls are routed to me. I can use the chat feature. So that's just an overview of that. So the SD-WAN is a software-defined WAN. So this is a device that sits on-premise, and it is, like I said, for customers with lots of locations, but they want to utilize the inexpensive bandwidth that Comcast of the world and some other cable and DSL companies are providing. A high volume of bandwidth, but it's not symmetrical and it's not dedicated. So this device can take, has multiple network connections, so that you can, plug in multiple internet connections, and it takes, it prioritizes the voice, video, and data across the network, and also into the MItel data centers, which have these same devices on a larger scale. So it really creates that clear connection from point to point for voice quality, and it works really well. So this is not for everyone, but it's for that customer that has lots of locations, that maybe the locations don't have a ton of employees, or they're utilizing that type of bandwidth. So we can talk about each scenario and figure out what's going to work best for them. If there's a customer that has dedicated internet access and they have enough bandwidth, this is not necessary because they already typically have something in their routers and firewall that's doing that prioritizing of the packets. So this shows you a little bit of a picture of it, like the rear side of it that shows all the different connections. I can even connect, 4G wireless into that to utilize that bandwidth as well. So reduce bandwidth costs, diagnose network. You can see all the real-time reporting and communications for voice, video, collaboration, and data. So it's a really nice device also to see the utilization and also to troubleshoot. So this just shows a little bit of the monitoring tool, and we can monitor this as well. We do monitor this as well, but the customer has access to monitor it themselves. And it has app steering software built in, so it's going to take the best path. So it's a pretty cool solution, to control voice quality as well as, the other prioritizations on the network for that company.
Kristi, does it handle multiple connections?
Yes, it does. So we can plug in, I believe it's up to 4 internet connections, and then I can, that are network connections, like, and then there's also a couple of USB connections for like a 4G wireless. So this picture right here shows, this scenario. I can plug in, the broadband, the DSL, the cable. I can plug in the MPLS, and I can plug in, the 4G wireless network.
So if they have multiple sites and they have these at each site, then they'd still appear on the same network?
Yes. Yes. So it's a software-defined wide area network.
So this is just like Big Leaf box then?
Yes, it is. So we actually, I probably am not supposed to say this, but we rebrand VeloCloud, which is a large player in the SD-WAN.
Right. Great.
So enterprise, is really for those larger companies that need custom integrations, video collaboration, and we really look at that, when we take a look at different scenarios, what pushes them to enterprise, because enterprise, is a little bit more expensive. So we want to make sure we put them in the right solution today, and that's going to meet their needs in the future as well. Contact center solutions. So we do have 3 different contact center solutions to offer. There's, business is, a pretty good, simple call center for agents logging in and out, for supervisors to see calls in queue and to monitor and do all those cool things. And then enterprise, allows them to also have the social media aspect and some more advanced applications. And then live can overlay any phone system. And it doesn't have to be MItel. So it can be a traditional premise-based solution, or it can be another hosted solution. So that's kind of a nice thing, so that they don't have to forklift what they currently have. And it also allows you to have a little more opportunity out there in the field. Call recording. Most of you probably know that MItel has partnered with Oasis for many, many years, and a few years back we purchased them. So that's our call recording solution that is, a cradle to grave that has all the security and encryption built in to record calls, from start to finish. With that said, most of all of our solutions have that on-demand call recording built in, so I can record calls on demand and it saves into the voicemail system. This is really for those companies that need the full-time call recording. So it's an add-on per seat. So I will take you through a quick demo of MyCloud Business, just as a refresher. So let me just switch screens really quick here. So let me know if you can see my MItel MyCloud screen.
Yeah.
Looks like we can.
Yeah.
Great. I like your iMeet. It works really well. So as I discussed, we design a phone system specifically for that business through the design process. So once we have an order placed, they are assigned an implementation team that takes them through the rest of the process. and really walks them through you know, how we're going to design the system, which is nice because a lot of times people want to make changes. That's the reason why they're deploying a new phone system. So we really walk them through and hold their hand through that process so they know what, you know, what call groups mean, you know, what, you know, the different auto attendant features and the tree and all of that, because we don't expect people to know what we know. So it's a really nice process. So once they have the phone system deployed, tested and turned up, if they want to make changes to it, this is the admin portal. They can also call us at any time to make the changes. But if they want to go ahead and make the changes, they would go into this portal. And I think some of you are familiar with this portal. So anyways, it's very user friendly. I can access it from anywhere I have internet access. And you know, this would be the users on the system that I would be able to see as the administrator. So I could search for myself, I could search by first name or last name or by the extension number. So as you can see, I have lots of extensions on the system, so we're going to choose this one. So this just has some basic information about me, but we'll go into the edit mode to see what we can actually change in some of the features and functionality. Give it just a second here, and I'll take a sip of water.
Kristi, I have a question for you. Do you have a project management on all of the 3 layers, like Office, in Business and Enterprise? I know Business and Enterprise, but do you have anything for the smaller ones as well? Do they still do project management and help them design everything?
We do. So in, obviously, Business and Enterprise, we can do that. And then on Office, it's an add-on. So we actually charge extra for it for the on-site install. Project management is an add-on to any of the solutions. And it's, yeah, it's typically like $25 a seat as an NRC, just as a ballpark number out there to really add on that project management to hold their hand. But the implementation for like Business and Enterprise is, you know, what we provide for at no charge is actually pretty robust.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Okay, so if I left the company, you could change my name here. You could change my email address. This username and password down here is for the end user portal. If you want to give the end users access to manage their own extension and make minor changes, you can certainly do that. Or as the admin, you can keep all the control. So my primary phone is my desk phone, and we set up the desk phones typically as hot desk phones. And what that means is that I can log into any phone on the system, and it becomes my profile follows me, so it becomes my extension. So all of the buttons, all of my soft keys are programmed exactly how I have them programmed. My voicemail follows me. My calls come to me. So it's not a hoteling, it's truly hot desking. So I can have a phone at home, I can have a phone in the office, and I just need one seat license, and I can log into either device, which is kind of nice. We don't have to set them up as hot desk phones, so sometimes they want some of the common area phones like the lobby phones, break room phones to be not hot desk because they don't want anyone else to log into them. So we can do it either way. So these are the available DID numbers that I could point to this extension. So I might have one or I might have multiple DIDs. And then for my outbound caller ID, I can choose a main telephone number or I could choose one of the DIDs assigned. So this is definable for every single user. So maybe a salesperson wants to show their DID, but a customer service rep wants to show one of the main telephone numbers. And then the last tab is for E911, just for multiple locations. So if there's emergency, they know where to go. The second phone would be my mobile soft phone or my PC soft phone. And so these are the credentials there. And so what this looks like is this client that I just popped up here, which there was a screenshot earlier. So this is me. I'm on the phone. Somebody could send me a chat. I can see my team down here as my favorites. or I can search the entire corporate directory or my personal contacts and click to dial. So this is my PC client, but it also looks very much the same on my mobile client. And I use my mobile client a lot when I'm out in the field because I just give people one number to reach me. And when I dial out from my mobile soft phone, it shows my MItel DID, not my cell phone number. And I can, chat people. I can click to dial on there as well. So it's kind of a nice secondary device. And then this last part right here is the simultaneous ring. So this doesn't require any special software or apps or anything on your mobile device. But when my desk phone rings, my cell phone rings at the same time. If I pick it up on my cell phone and I walk back to my desk, I can hit one button on my desk phone and move that call back. And vice versa, if I'm on a long call and I have to head to a meeting, I can hit one button on my desk phone, move that call to my cell phone, and walk out the door. So that toggle back and forth is truly seamless. So the other person doesn't hear clicks. They don't think they've been hung up on. It's truly seamless. So I use that all the time. So that's a nice simultaneous ring feature for those users that don't need to have more of the advanced application and have that true mobile cell phone. Voicemail to email, you guys are all familiar with that. If I want to leave in my voicemail for immediate assistance, press 0 now. That 0 could be another user. It could be the operator. It could be my colleague. So that's definable by user as well. Full-blown mailbox, multiple greetings. The voicemail system per customer has 450 hours. So there really aren't any limitations there. Phone keys. So our phones are full digital display phones that have soft keys. So those soft keys aren't just line keys for incoming calls. They're actually for the features that I want at my fingertips. So phone systems have hundreds of features, and we all want to use about 5 or 6. So this is our most common phone, the 5330. And so I can take a look at a button that's not programmed and see what is available to me. So like the handoff, that's what allows me to toggle back and forth between my desk phone and my cell phone, and it tells in the feature description here exactly that.
That's nice.
The busy lamp fields, so I can program your extension on my phone. I can see when you're on or off the phone. I can one-touch transfer to you. So all of that, the record a call, that's the on-demand call recording. So all of that is available, and we can call it whatever we want. We can just call it record, and then that shows right on the phone. So this is a real-time portal, so when I make changes, they are effective immediately.
That's cool.
So we can go, so we can go up from there. This just has more buttons on the right-hand side and has 48 programmable buttons on 3 pages. And then we have our fancy touchscreen color display phone, which is a nice executive phone. And then we can go down to a more simple phone for a basic user. This actually does have a backlit display. The picture is a little outdated. And then we could go all the way down to this little guy, which might be like a lobby or a break room phone. So a few different options there. Call rerouting, obviously auto attendant, we can route during the day, at night, and all that good stuff. But if my particular extension needed to go somewhere else at night, maybe to an off-site call center, I could do that. Or maybe to the other person on call, I could do that as well. Or I could just change it to my voicemail, which is nice because if I use this simultaneous ring but I don't want to be interrupted at night when I'm at home with my family, I just make it go right to voicemail, which doesn't ring anything. So that's kind of nice. Typically the seats have unlimited calling in the US and Canada. We can restrict a phone down to 911 and extension-to-extension dialing, or allow for international calling.
And is that U.S. and Canada, is that just continental, or does that include like Hawaii also, Hawaii and Alaska?
It does include Hawaii and Alaska, yes.
Thank you.
So call groups, I can add-on contact center for true, calls and queue and all that. But if they just need some simple call groups, like off the auto attendant for customer service, press 1 and it rings this group of phones, or rings one phone at a time and then rolls to another group. We can do that all here in call groups, and it's pretty robust. And you can even have, voicemail box answer if nobody's available. So these can be programmed by us and modified by the customer as well. So if we just look really quick at this ring group, this is Jay's ring group, so it shows the members in here, and it's a ring all. So when somebody presses 2 off the auto attendant, it's going to ring, all of these phones at the same time. So I could add a user to the group, or I could remove a user right here. And then, basically it's by seconds, like how long it rings before it does an overflow to another group or to the voicemail box. So we talked about hot desk phones. Key templates, this is so the phones having the digital display and programming the buttons. I can apply templates to all of the phones or a group of phones so that they all have the same buttons, maybe on the first page, and then allow the end user to program the other buttons how they want. Or I could lock down all the keys. But this just shows the templates, and I can go in and modify a template. So it's nice if I want to change, somebody's name and it's on one of the templates, I can push that out to all phones by just going in here and modifying the template. So the auto attendant, we do allow our customers to modify the auto attendant. We didn't used to because they really did more damage, I think, than good. But we have allowed them to go in and modify it if they want. Otherwise, if they want to change their tree or anything in the auto attendant, we can always do that for them. So this is a pretty simple auto attendant, and I won't go into detail, but you can drill into each one of these and change the way that the calls are routed. You can upload a greeting or record that portion of the greeting, and after you do the changes, you can actually test it before you push it out. So this last little tab here, call rerouting destinations, that's just if I want my extension to go somewhere else. I can create a new one there. The company speed dial, so the phones have a phone book built in that everyone will have access to. So we'll load all of the extensions in there. So I can just search in the phone book, and I can use the keypad to search by first name or last name. And I can also just, click on that and pick up the phone and call you. We can also add external numbers in there as well. Last little tab is music on hold. So we have a generic music on hold, which isn't hideous if they don't have an electronic version. So we can definitely load that for them. But if they use like an add-on hold, they can go in here and upload it, maybe quarterly or monthly, however often that it changes. So this is the menu for that.
I'm sorry, did you just say that the default music on hold is hideous?
It's not hideous.
Oh, I thought that's what I thought you said.
Wait, that's a new band.
Yeah.
You don't know that, Alan?
No, I'm not up with young people's music.
It's a Japanese punk group.
Yeah, hideous.
It's not hideous, sorry. So that's a pretty simple overview. The only other thing before I open it up for questions that I wanted to comment on is I know everybody, all the different hosted providers price it out differently. And we try to make it pretty simple, where there's just, a few different seat licenses to pick from and a few different phones. And so with that, we're not limiting customers. You don't have to add on conference calling. You don't have to, add on all these basic features and functionality that, we as end users would expect in a phone system. So, every advanced and light seat has a call path. And the call paths are, shared. So if I have 10 users, I have 10 call paths. It's not, traditional lines that go into a PBX. You guys are all pretty familiar with that. But with that, I just need one seat license, and I can have multiple devices. So just to kind of clarify that, because when I price out some things and we kind of go back and forth either over email or over the phone, I know sometimes it can get a little bit confusing. So we try to keep it as simple as possible and really, I believe that we're very competitive when it comes to pricing if we're truly comparing apples to apples. So now we'll go back to my little slideshow. Oh, I forgot I do have 2 more slides. So you are probably familiar with the SPIF program that we have for Q3. So basically it's up to 3 times MRC. And when we sell a solution together, I automatically go in there and register it for you because I want to make sure that we don't miss out on that upfront SPIF. And then our other commission is the 20% residual on the services, and then we pay upfront, 20% upfront on the hardware. Are there any questions on the SPIF? Okay, last slide. These are just some of the customers who have trusted MItel. You'll probably see some big names in there. A recent win that we had in the past year and deployed was with the San Diego Padres. So that was an enterprise solution that was about 550 users. So basically we can do the large companies and we can do the really small companies. So you'll see a mix in there.
It would have more impact if it was the giants, I'm just telling you.
I know, for you. Well, let's go get it.
Some might say that.
Okay, questions?
Hey,
great
Kristi.
presentation.
Steve?
Thank you.
Hey, can you talk a little bit about your more advanced call center features and functions as it relates to maybe IVR or even screen capture?
Yes. So when you say screen capture, what do you mean by that?
Well, it kind of goes hand in hand with call recording, to where they're recording the call, the audio, but they're also recording or capturing the screen of the call center agent.
Okay.
Just want to make sure, if you do have that, let us know, and how robust your IVR might be.
Okay. So with the enterprise and the live, we can do anything that any traditional or hosted call center can do. It's the business one that's a little bit scaled down. With that said, when you go to the larger solutions, Steve, as you know, because we're working on one right now, you get into that custom integration, and there is some NRCs associated with that for the design, because it is very custom to that specific customer. So when we take a look at that, we just look at kind of the scope of work when we have that detail, and then we put together a real number for that one-time charge.
Yeah, it's traditionally how obviously IVRs are done.
Yeah. So we really have no limitation. The only challenge that I say, that makes it a little difficult is when we price something out, we're usually given some, just some basic numbers, like 100 users, 50 contact center, and they need, X, Y, and Z. So we can price it out, but it doesn't really dig into, how they want it deployed. And that's where the programming, kind of comes into play. And I think on the one we were working on, I was able to get them to, when I gave them a little bit better of the scope of the project, then they were able to, give a more realistic number for that one-time charge.
Okay. So you do have screen capture available?
Yes. Yes.
And do you have multi-channel for a call center to where you can do instant message and chat with agents or the agents can chat with customers on their website? Do you have that available as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay, super. Obviously, CRM integration and integration with Skype for Business and all that stuff, I'm guessing as well.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously you've got something as an organization for everyone across the spectrum. but in your opinion, what is the real sweet spot for a MItel solution?
That's a great question. And that's a hard question because, you know, everyone typically needs a phone system and we, you know, more than likely have a solution. I would say we do really well when it comes to anything multi-location because those are the customers that want to be on the same platform but don't necessarily want to put the infrastructure in place like they had to do with a traditional PBX. So multi-location, whether they have, you know, one user at all locations or 100 or more, that's really a great fit for this solution, as well as, you know, companies who